What's going on? We back with the Boxing Clinic and more. It's your boy CJ Goodfella. Back with that real drill boxing talk. Y'all know what it is, man. Early morning grind, man. And Triple G says, look at Hopkins. My record's much bigger, stronger at 160. And, it's a valid argument to a certain extent. You know, but shout out to the LDBC, the YTBC. And ain't nobody safe box community. My homie Moni Brown TV. Y'all should subscribe. Trap House Boxing, subscribe. Colossal Boxing Talk, subscribe. Cali Enigma, subscribe. Appreciate it, man. And smash that like button and hit that subscribe button, or smash the dislike button if you don't like the video. I don't give a shit. But yeah. You know, Bernard Hopkins didn't have a great resume at 160, especially if you're just talking about wins. But he had higher profile fights. Triple G had one high profile fight, and that was versus Canelo Alvarez, and he drew, so he didn't win that. You know, Danny Jacobs, he's another guy that never did nothing at middleweight. He wasn't even a real world champion. He was a paper title holder, regular WBA champion. Kell Brook was a welterweight. So we talking about, you know, Hopkins' biggest fights coming against welterweights. Well, one of Triple G's high profile fights came against a welterweight. And the rest of it, you know, other than Martin Murray, which is a domestic good guy, it's just above a domestic UK fighter. I think he could beat some American fighters. Other than that, I mean, his other best win was probably like early on Kassim Uma. He was a smaller guy that moved up as well. I mean, you look at Prosper Rosado. Rosado fought at 54 as well. Adamo, he wasn't anything. Ishida, he wasn't much of nothing. Matthew Macklin wasn't much of nothing. Willie Monroe, he was another guy that was 154 that moved up. He wasn't pretty much nothing. You know, you can keep going on and on. He didn't really fight anybody. His best wins were Martin Murray, Kell Brook, Danny Jacobs, and Kassim Uma, in my opinion. Daniel Gill wasn't nothing. Marco Antonio Rubio wasn't really nothing. David Lemieux wasn't really nothing. I mean, Hopkins, you know, if you include the losses, he lost to Jermaine Taylor twice in close fights. His last two at middleweight, I believe, after losing all his belts. He was undisputed at middleweight, he was undisputed champion at middleweight. So that's something that Triple G didn't accomplish. And that's something that he was trying to hang his hat on, but you can't. He fought William Joppy, he fought John David Jackson, who was a solid fighter. He fought Phoenix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, both smaller guys that moved up. But we already named a few smaller guys that already moved up on Triple G resume. And those were two high-profile victories, one being I think was scheduled to be 9/11, and it got pushed back a little bit because of the 9/11 issue. You know, the heinous crimes we had with the Twin Towers. And then you go to, you know, he fought Winky Wright, I believe, at middleweight, if I'm not mistaken. He lost to Roy Jones early on, and it wasn't a blowout like most people thought, said it was. So, in my opinion, when you overall gauge the two middleweight resumes, I'm going to give it to Bernard Hopkins still. You know, he said my resume is much bigger, stronger than Triple G. Not really, bro. It's competitive. But one thing you got to give to Hopkins was that he was in bigger profile fights, even though he lost to Jermaine Taylor twice. He lost to, even though Roy Jones wasn't a big profile fight at the time, but he beat De La Hoya, he beat Trinidad, you know. And then the thick of it, William Joppy, John David Jackson, he beat, two solid guys right there. He beat Winky Wright, I think was at 160. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I just think, I know what, people question Bernard's resume at middleweight. But guess what? It's better than Triple G still. Triple G best win is over Kell Brook, Martin Murray, Daniel Jacobs, and Kassim Uma, in my opinion. Because Kassim Uma was giving him some good work. But that's before he really turned into Triple G, too. He was still, I think, just started working with Abel. But, yeah, like I said, man, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, do what I got, talk shit and do this and do that. But at the end of the day, and what pushes over the top for Bernard Hopkins, I think most of us would agree and should agree, he became undisputed. He didn't let, somebody else, take him off his game and worry about the money. He made history, and he became undisputed. And that's something that Triple G hasn't done, and will be stripped of the IBF if he doesn't fight Shevchenko by August 3rd. So, he going to be stripped anyway, so he ain't going to accomplish the undisputed unless he comes back and do some miraculous shit. But yeah, I still like Bernard Hopkins' resume. But it's a hell of a weekend to say that when you fighting a bum-ass motherfucker like Vanes Mascherosian. It's one hell of a weekend to say, oh, you know what? You know, my resume better than Hopkins. It's much bigger, stronger at 160. Get the fuck out of here. At the end of the day, you fighting Vanes Mascherosian. Say that for the Canelo week, you know, or Jamal Charlo or Danny Jacobs week. Don't sell that weak-ass excuse, you know. Don't say this weak-ass shit for this weak-ass weekend. You know, you want to put yourself against Hopkins. Shut up. I know you beefing with Golden Boy. You feeling yourself. You feeling good. You know, you feel like you can't be stopped. You feel like you're on top of the world, but you're not. You're still not better than Bernard Hopkins overall in the middleweight division. You don't have a better resume. Your resume is not big and strong to begin with, in my opinion. You know, the thick of it just not start getting big and strong when you fought Kell Brook. Everybody else before Kell Brook, other than Martin Murray, and I say Kassim Uma, because I think